Hello, guys. It's great to be here. Very excited. Thank you very much, Divya, for introducing me, and Evan for his great talk. I have prepared some interesting stuff for you. So let's start with a quick question. Who ever used SVGs before? I want to see those hands, guys. Okay, okay. So from my animated meter, it's about 92% of you raised your hands, which is good. Okay, that's a good start. We all know that we can use SVG for icons, right? Everybody, I think, almost all the 92% that raised their hands use SVGs for icon systems and implementing icons on their, as part of their work. So, okay, the cool thing about it that we can animate those icons, which is great. If you are into that, you can use Lottie files, which is a huge library of already animated icons, and you can use the Lottie to create your own icons, which is good. Okay, so who used SVGs for anything beside icons? Okay, I want to see those hands again. Not 92, but a little bit less. Okay, that's good. So we can use, of course, SVGs for graphics and illustrations. Another good example is Humans, which is spelled differently. It's a huge library of scalable vectors that you can play around with them and create your own sets of backgrounds and graphics, etc., etc. So introduce this link to your designer friends. They will definitely love you for that. It's a huge and open source website. Okay. Who used SVG for anything else beside the things that we mentioned? Okay, I see like about, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 hands, which is a very small amount in relation to this huge and great audience. So what I'm saying is I think we're not using SVG enough. Okay, so quickly about me. My name is Dima, and I'm a Vue.js Israel community leader. Besides that, I'm a front-end architect. And besides that, I do a lot of stuff as part of my day-to-day job. So one of the interesting things is the hashtag Hackathon Mentor. If you search it on social media, you will probably see that I participated in like, I don't know, 25, almost 30 hackathons as a mentor, which is great for me. So come see me there. Okay. First place we encounter SVGs in relations to Vue is actually in the documentation. So if you ever saw this slide or window, it's courtesy to Sarah Drasner. She created this really nice explanation of how to use it, how to implement it. So we can go directly to just copying the SVG inside the Vue file as just part of the template, which is good. Okay. If we don't want to do it, we can use Webpack loaders, for example, the Vue SVG loader that helps us to do it pretty much automatically. And we can use the SVG files as just components. Again, good. I really love using SVG with Vue because the feeling that I get when I do it, when I code it, it's very natural. It's like almost the same as just a regular template. This is my this is actually why I love to combine SVGs when I'm working with SVGs and Vue. Okay, so are we going to talk in this specific talk about how we should import SVGs with Webpack, or maybe how to use it as a sprite sheet with use and symbol? Well, actually not. This talk is a little different. I'm going to focus in this talk about the what's. I want to explore the vast world of SVGs and what we can do with it beside the, I don't know, like almost 100% of you raise your hands like icons and graphics, and that's pretty much it. So let's explore other things. Okay. What I found out, and I'm actually also guilty of that, is that we use SVG We don't use SVG. We like to do it in our own way. So this is, of course, a very basic example. This Julia Park drove those great avocados with just HTML and CSS. And we all like guilty in that specific things. We need some graphical stuff. And we said, OK, we have HTML. We have CSS. It's a box. Let's draw a box, like it's a div, basically, and add a background color. And that's it. OK, cool. So in some cases, it's OK. It's a good idea. In other cases, in this one specifically, I don't think it's a good idea because it will be so much easier to just draw it in whatever program that there is to draw scalable vector graphics and then do the animation, again, maybe with an external program. OK, so what am I saying here? Should we always use SVG? I don't know, but we definitely can create everything that is done with SVG. We can create it with HTML and CSS. In some cases, it will be very easy. In some cases, it will be like, I don't know, mind-blowing, huge amounts of code, very difficult, maybe not so performant. But we can. We definitely can. OK. So SVG is so powerful that I encourage you to use it almost all the time. One example that I found on the web, those guys are Loading.io. It's a company from Taiwan, I think. What they're doing is like an engine that you create these cool backgrounds. You can play around with sliders and change colors, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you get to the little button of SVG, download SVG, OK, you need to subscribe and pay money for it. It's just a business made out of totally SVGs, which is amazing, I think. So what else can we do with SVGs? We can show emotions. This is a very interesting website, Emotive Fields. It uses SVGs and SVG animations to express different kind of emotions. It has some other stuff. If you go to there, you can see like a lot of different animations. And it does it in some case pretty well. Like it's an animation, but it makes me feel something, which is in some cases I do connect to, like amazed, this puffy thing. OK, we can do 3D with SVG. Who here knew that we can do 3D with SVG? OK, not a lot, but that's an interesting example. It's called ZDog, and it's an engine. Very interesting one because it's not actually 3D. What it does, we create, as part of that engine, our 3D models. We code them. And then as part of the generation, it just flattens them out and draws them on an SVG plane, on a 2D plane using SVG, of course. So it's very interesting to do it. ZDog has also an implementation using Vue. And it's really easy to play around with it. Like 2 minutes, and you're already doing 3D models and playing around with them on your browser. OK, so we can build design systems. So what do I mean design systems? This is a very cute example of how someone created a dog design system. It's actually built also with Vue. There is a dog component. And this dog component gets props like left ear up, color, brown, I don't know, right paw, wink, or whatever. And it generates them using one SVG file inside that dog component that has all the different elements. And it's just like a basic VIF to show them using the props, except the color, of course. It just passes the color to the SVG itself. And it's really cute because it's puppies. So we can do micro interactions using SVG. Some of those examples are really similar to what I think that one, the label. It's really similar to what we know, basically from material design. So in material design, as you, I guess, at least most of you know it, when I'm touching input field, a text input field, there is this line, little line that expands beneath it. In most cases that I saw, It's made using a pseudo after element that just expands the width of it with CSS animation. In some cases, I saw hacky ways to do it, like it's a div, 1 pixel height div that is invisible and then it's shown, and something strange. But we definitely can't achieve this kind of effects with the simplicity that SVG gives us without using it. So with SVG, we can have this cool stuff. And I'm actually interested to hear if someone knows about a full-blown design system that uses SVG. Come talk to me later. I'm really interested to see if there is one, like with all those stuff that we see here. Oh, sorry, too much. Yes, okay. So we can do non-standard UI elements. What do I mean? Actually, what we see on the screen, it's like 3 checkboxes and 1 single select radio button. It's amazing. It's the simplicity of creating this kind of checkboxes and radio buttons and animations in general. It's very easy. You can use softwares to create it, and if you wrap it in a, I don't know, let's say a Vue component, it's just a checkbox for the one who uses it. You can add props to it, checked, unchecked, etc. It's great. Okay, one painful thing is logos. So I guess all of you who have websites or your companies have websites have a logo. I'm pretty sure that in some cases, your logos are using PNGs and to support different resolutions. So you have at least a couple of versions of your PNGs, like PNG and PNG X2 for Retina displays, and maybe if you have a responsive website and you have a couple of versions of your logo, like a big, small, medium. In some rare cases, I still see logos that's done with JPEGs, which is weird, but I don't see any good reason to do it. But logos, in my opinion, should be done almost always 99% using SVGs. It's scalable, it's just there, and it will always work on every display. It's great. And, of course, the bonus point of logos, you can animate them. So as part of the same file, it can be also animated on hover effect or whatever. We gain all the benefits of using logos with definitely SVGs and not anything else. Nice thing about that, not sure that lots of you know about it, we can put media queries inside SVG files. So the SVG file itself, it's self-contained, and media queries will respond based on the SVG size. So I mean, when I'm putting my logo in my website, and on mobile it looks in one version, on desktop it looks a little bit bigger in a different version. Not just that I'm using it, strictly using one file and all the logic is inside, the next person that goes into my website and you always, I don't know, I mean, almost always done it and know about it. Okay, I need a logo of that specific company. Should I search it on Google? Maybe Google Images, I'm not sure. Let's go to that website, right-click the logo, save as. If you save this file as an SVG with the media queries inside, you get all the responsiveness inside the same file. So the person who will use your logo, depending on where he will use it and what size, it will scale correctly. We can do text effects. So the one that I really like is that one behind me. It's really hard to achieve this kind of GUI effect around text using traditional, I don't know, like CSS or maybe PNGs or whatever. I actually, maybe there is a way to do it with a PNG, but really old school and strange way. With SVG, it's just a filter that you apply, and it works like magic. It's a real text. You can play with it, write it, and it works. Everything, by the way, in this example is real text. You can do art with it. So what do I mean art? If you're into creative coding, you can and you should play with SVG first, in my opinion, because it's so accessible and so simple and so easily readable, in opposed, of course, to WebGL and Canvas and the other options that we have. So actually, Dexter from yesterday showed me that he uses SVG for creative coding. He has some very nice examples on his Instagram account. Okay, so this one, I need my mouse. Okay, we can do SVG morphs. Yeah, okay, this is working. Yeah, you see it, cool. So what do I mean SVG morphs? SVG has paths. So we have this SVG elements, very simple element. I hope you can see it, guys. And when I'm hovering with a mouse on it, so the only thing that I'm doing is rewriting the path, which is very simple to achieve. When I'm rewriting the path, I'm getting this very nice morphing effect. I'm added a little animation to it. It's really easy to play with it. So morphing in SVG is one very powerful feature. We can do the line drawing effect. I'm pretty sure that all of you are familiar with many kinds of variations of this line drawing effect. The middle one is actually an example from Chris Coyer when he connected the line drawing as part of the scroll bar. So while he scrolls the page, the line is filling in. We can react to mouse events based on shapes. This is a very interesting and powerful feature, I think. So if you can see on the left example with the diamond, when I'm hovering the SVG file, the mouse is only affected when it's on a path. It's actually an SVG, which inside there is an anchor tag that wraps the path itself. And also on the right, so there is no bounding box that I need to, that is triggered when I want to hover only specifically on the paths. We can be very creative with backgrounds. So this is a very interesting and strange example that I recently saw in a talk from Lea Viru, sorry. Why is it interesting? Because what you see here is just an empty body element. And what I have is a background image with an SVG code encoded as part of the data URI. And I need to do some basic escaping there, but it's not a big of a problem. And the text here, hello world, is actually a live text. It's like hello and an emoji. So I have a text and an emoji as part of my background image. And I can do whatever I want with my background image, like scale it and repeat and whatever. So this is a very interesting example. Where is my mouse? Here. Okay. We can do filters and text effects. So the left example is a live text. And it has an SVG filter on it. And the right example is really a basic one. I can play around with the colors. So how is it made? It's actually an SVG element in the shape of the T-shirt, just placed on top of a very simple image. And the SVG path has a multiply filter. So I can play with all the colors that I want, and it's very easy. It's like just an image and an SVG path. Oh, yes, okay. And we can do full-blown websites with SVG. So this is actually a very interesting example. It shows the presidents of United States. And why is it interesting? Because it has a mix of everything that you ever wanted. It has SVGs, and it has Donald Trump, and yeah. And it has hover effects using CSS. And the funny thing, well, at least I find it funny. The graphs here are using Canvas. So, okay, everything is SVG. Why this is Canvas? But okay. What tools do we have to do it? We have a lot of tools, actually. Some of them you already know, like Sketch, Figma, Adobe Illustrator, After Effects, etc., etc. Some of them are less known, but pretty powerful as well, as SVGator and maybe Animator by Haiku. After Effects actually is working very well in combination with Lottie. Lottie is an extension to it. The designer, actually the animator that uses After Effects can create any kind of animation he wants, then export it as an SVG file with a supplementary JSON file that translates all the animations to that SVG. So, and of course, we don't have to use tools. We can do it just by ourselves. And I wanted to show you a basic example. Yes, this one. Sorry, yes. Okay, so this is a basic component. It has a box SVG inside it. I'm getting props of color and size. I'm connected my GreenSock, which is a great tool to animate on the web, not just SVGs, but just SVGs especially. Creating a basic animation of moving to the right and rotating 90 degrees. It took me like, I don't know, 3 minutes to do it. Of course, it's a very simple one, but it's very easy to play with it. So what's next? Maybe SVG in virtual reality? Yeah. I actually don't know, but I really want to encourage you to use SVG more. So let's recap. Well, why should we use SVGs? It's resolution independent. And what I mean is when I put an SVG logo on my website a couple of years ago, and today we have like 8K displays, I don't care. It just works. I don't need to add another like X4, X8 PNG file or whatever. It's a syntax. We all know pretty well HTML, I guess, so by design, we all know SVGs. The file sizes. Of course, it depends on the graphics that we want to show, but if it's a vector graphic that was designed by anyone, it probably should be in a vector format. Don't see any good reason to do a vector graphic, then save it as a PNG, JPEG, or whatever. It has a multicolor support, which, for example, icon fonts don't have. We can use only one color there. It's animatable, as we saw already. Perfect browser support, I will say. Almost all browsers support SVG out of the box, no additional stuff needed. And SVG is pretty old. It's like 20-something years, I think, old. So almost everything supports it. Accessibility. As I showed in 2 of my examples, there is a text inside the SVG, and it's readable. It's readable for search engines, and it's readable for screen readers. Yes. It's semantically correct. What do I mean semantically correct? When I need to draw, when I need to show some kind of an image, illustration, or something, why should I use divs and spans to do it? And the last one, the ease of use. We have, as we saw in the last slide, a lot of tools, a lot of applications that we can create, animate, and even I think one of them has, by design, export to Vue components. So my key takeaway for this talk is use SVG, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dima. That was
Thank you, Divya.
incredibly informative.